What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some basketball. Orlando Magic basketball. We here, we back, baby. Basketball is right around the corner. If I'm not mistaken, the Magic first game will be next Friday versus the Brooklyn Nets. And I know they had an exhibition game against the Clippers yesterday. I didn't get to watch the game live because I was at work, but from what I got to see out the game, it looked pretty decent. You know, it was just a little quick exhibition game just to knock off some of the rust. It was against the Clippers, and they fell 99 to 90. But like I said, it's just a game. They ain't played basketball in, 3-4 months. So it was just to knock some of that rust off. So I'm not really tripping about the outcome. Everybody didn't play. I know Markelle didn't play and things like that. So it's all good. I'm not really tripping about that. But I am intrigued and I'm ready to get this, this 8 games before the playoffs start. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Orlando Magic because I think the Magic are at a position that they are prime and ready to make a playoff push. Even better than the playoff push that they tried to make last year. I think the team is playing a little bit better than they were playing last year. They were clicking on all cylinders a little bit more. And I do think that the pandemic and the big break and the layoff might actually come back to hurt the Magic. And I'm about to explain why because of some numbers I'm about to bring up. But I do think the Magic are ready to make a playoff push because as of right now, they are the AC and the Brooklyn Nets or the 7th seed. And they're half a game back because they're half a game back. The Magic are 30 and 35, and the Brooklyn Nets are 30 and 34. And the Magic played the Brooklyn Nets twice in this 8 games for playoff seeding. So I do think they're able to make a push and be able to surpass and basically flip Brooklyn and become the 7th seed while Brooklyn falls to the 8th seed. That way they avoid going against Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks and basically have a rematch of last year versus the Toronto Raptors, the first round last year, where the Magic did win the first game and then got lost the last 4. Even though the last 2, especially the Magic didn't play well, but I think the first 3 games of that series, the one they won and the first 2 games that they lost, the Magic played well. Now, to mention, this is going to be a Toronto team that doesn't have a Kawhi Leonard, doesn't have a Danny Green and things like that. So it's not the same Toronto team that won the NBA championship last year. But at the same time, the same thing with the Magic. This is not the same Magic team. I actually think this Magic team is playing a little bit better. I'm going to explain what that is. Because we know the names. We know that the 2 biggest names, the 2 biggest people that the Magic more likely are going to lean on during this stretch, the All-Star and last year's All-Star, Nikola Vucevic, and also Aaron Gordon, AG. But I'm going to bring up 3 people who I think will be very, very vital to, like I said, the Magic making this playoff push because not only are they only just a half a game behind Brooklyn, like I said, they played Brooklyn twice. That's the only team that they play more than once in this 8 games. So they have a legitimate shot of overtaking the Brooklyn Nets. And I want to talk about some players. And the first player I want to talk about is Markelle Fultz. In the last 3 games, I want to bring up the last 3 games. In the last 3 games, Markelle Fultz is averaging 18.6 points a game off of 59% shooting. Now, I know that's a big amount as far as, percentage-wise, and also a small sample because I'm only doing the last 3 games when it comes to Markelle. But the reason why I'm doing that is because I think that Markelle, one, didn't play last year. He wasn't part of the playoff push last year. And then 2, in the beginning of the season, he wasn't starting. He didn't start until maybe the end of November, beginning of December is when he finally got his first start. And then once he got that first start, he basically been playing the whole time. And now he's also starting to get more minutes. He's also the most minutes. The last 3 games are the most minutes he's been playing consistently throughout the season. And Markelle showed you a lot of things. Now, again, like I said, I know that 59% from the field is a big number, and that's nothing a pace he can keep up. But it is a difference because his season average, he's averaging 12 points and 41% from the field. But in his last 10, he's averaging 12 points, but he's averaging 51% shooting. And like I said, in the last 3, he's averaging 59, and he's averaging 18-point games. Because his last three games that we've played, that Markelle's played against Memphis on March 6th, he had 24 points from 11 out of 14 shooting. March 8th against the Houston Rockets, he had 18 points off of 8 out of 12. And then his last game against Memphis. I'm sorry, the first one was against Minnesota. The last one was against No, this one was against Minnesota, and he averaged 14 points, and he had 14 points and off of 6 off of 16 shooting. So he's doing a very good job from three. The Minnesota game, he was 0 for 1 from three. The Houston Rocket game, he was 2 from three, 2 of 3 from three, and in the last game he was 1 of 2 from three. So he's actually starting. He's even shooting the three ball correctly. Like I say, he's being more decisive. Finishing at the rack. That's why a lot of those. That's why he's shooting so good from the field, because he's taking a lot of those to the holes. He's not settling for jump shots. He's improving up his game, because I actually was fortunate enough to actually watch the Rockets game, especially before this whole pandemic jumped down. And when the Magic came to Houston, I was able to watch the game in person. You've seen the aggressiveness. You've seen that he was aggressive. The team itself, I mean, you're talking about a Rocket team that is basically competing for a championship. Got James Harden, got Russell Westbrook. There's a fully loaded Magic team. Ain't nobody sit out the fully loaded Rockets team. Ain't nobody sit out James Harden, Westbrook. They all played, and the Magic basically took. They beat them by 20. And they played. And I'm not saying that's they're 20 points better than the Rockets. I'm not saying that at all, because when the Rockets came to Houston, the Rockets beat the Magic and actually beat them pretty well. But what I'm saying is they were confident. They wasn't timid. They took the fight to the Rockets. And I think that's something that aggressiveness is something they'll take into the playoffs, and especially it's coming from the guy who's playing the point guard position, Markelle Fultz. So I definitely believe that what we've seen, like, that's why I brought the last three, because I think that what we've seen so far is basically him growing up and maturing in front of our eyes. And the problem is, like I say, the layoff. Will he have cooled off since then? Does that give time to cool off, or will he be able to pick it back up? Hopefully he'll be able to pick it back up, but we're going to see. The next person I want to talk about is the Human Torch, Terrence Ross. Now, this one is a little bit different, because Terrence Ross in the beginning of the season, he wore number 8, and then after the tragic passing of Kobe, he switched back to 31 out of respect for Kobe Bryant. And I'm glad that he switched back to 31. Just because he's playing completely different. Like, when he wore number 8 in the beginning of the season, he did not look like the Terrence Ross. And people are like, man, why did we pay Terrence Ross? Why did we give Terrence Ross that money? And then once he put it back on 31, and we've seen the last 10 games, we've seen why Terrence Ross is Terrence Ross. Because he coming off the bench. I mean, for the last 10 games, he's averaging 22.2 points off of 48% shooting, and then he's averaging 50% from three. He's shooting 50% from three. He's shooting 48% from the field, averaging 22.2 points, and he's shooting 50% from the field of the last 10 games. Once he's thrown on that number 31. I mean, the guy in the last 10 games has given you 19, 21, 14, 33, 21, 23, 35, 16, 16, and 24, all off the bench. And in the beginning of the season, I think he was averaging like 12 points. Now he's up to averaging 14 points because of his last 10-game stretch. And like his season total of percentage, I think, is 43%. And now what is his season total from shooting from the field? He was shooting 40% from the field. Now he's shooting 48% out of the last 10 games. Now that's a bigger sample size, not like just Markelle with just 3. I gave you a bigger sample size because the difference of the beginning of the season and he's very vital, because he's the guy who can easily get points no matter what, and he's also a guy who can easily get hot. Terrence Ross could be in a slump the whole game, and then all of a sudden just start heating up. And that's why they call him the Human Torch, because once he starts heating up, it's over. It's like the goal gets so bigger, and he's just shooting. He's just money from all over the field. So that is a huge asset, especially with somebody coming off the bench. You got somebody that's giving you. Now, I'm not saying he's going to come into this 8 games, going into the playoffs, averaging 22 points off the field. I don't think that. I think that's asking a little bit too much. But if he's giving you a consistent off the bench, giving you a consistent 18, 19, even 16 and 17, giving you a good 17, 18, 19, 20 plus points off the bench, that's definitely going to pay huge dividends for your team, and that's definitely going to be able to put you in a position for you to make a playoff push. Because I'm gonna be honest, during the playoffs last year, Terrence Ross had his moments. We kind of cooled off a little bit. He wasn't the same, and that could just be the way that Toronto was playing defense. And like I said, Kawhi was out there, so they could. And like I said, Toronto is still a good defensive team, but I do think that that's part of the reason why. And I do think that Terrence Ross will play a little bit better come this postseason than he did last postseason. And again, like I said, the layoff, because it took him a while. It took him over half the season to get hot. But the last 10 games, he was on a roll. Did this pandemic and this big layoff kind of put you back at a restart button, and now we got to get him back, warm him back up? Or will he be able to go out there next Friday when we go against Brooklyn and start to heat back up and be the Human Torch that we've seen the last 10 games and what we've seen all of last season? Hopefully that's the latter. Hopefully that's the case. And I kind of believe that. I think out of these guys, I think he's the guy who's definitely the easiest to get back in the rhythm, because, like I say, he could be 0 for 10 the first 3.5 quarters, but that last 5 minutes can go off and basically win you a game. I've seen him do it. He did it last year. So I definitely believe that's something that that definitely could happen. It could rear his head, and I just hope that he can continue this trend. Now, the next person I want to talk about, the guy I normally bash a lot, and that's Evan Fournier. And Evan Fournier, his last 10 games of the season, Evan Fournier is giving you 19.6 points off of 50% from the field, and then he's shooting 41% from three. Now, Fournier's season average is giving you 18.8 points, averaging 47% from the field and averaging 40% from three. So he's basically, his last 10 games is basically what he's been doing all season. In the last 10 games, he's been giving you 14, 22, 19, 28, 21, 28, 11, 23, 13, and 17. Now, Fournier has taken a big step up this year, in my opinion. And it's because the numbers that we've seen from Fournier is basically the numbers that he's always able to get. The problem with Fournier is that he takes a lot of ill-advised shots previously. This season, he's dialed that back a lot. He hasn't been doing a lot of outside. No, the game against the Spurs where we lost, I think it was on St. Patrick's Day. No, it wasn't St. Patrick's Day. Was it what day? It was. I forgot exactly what day it was. It might even been, no, it wasn't Valentine's Day, but I just know it was a game against San Antonio against the Spurs, and the game ended up going to overtime, and it either went to overtime because of him, or it went to overtime, or we lost in overtime because of him, because he took an ill-advised shot that he shouldn't have took. And I think the game ended up going to overtime because he took an ill-advised shot that he shouldn't have took, when he could have just scored and we would have won the game. But like sometimes with Evan Fournier, it's like when he gets the ball from, if it's DJ, if it's Nikola, no matter who gets him the ball, he just takes the ball and shoots it early in the shot clock. Just takes a bad ill-advised shot instead of playing in the confines of the offense. And it seems like he feels that once he gets the ball, it's his chance to shoot. Because once he passes the ball and does some more ball movement, he's not going to receive the ball again. That's how it seems like from me watching it. That's how it looks like that's just going on his mind. Like, oh, I gotta get this ball. I gotta shoot, because if I don't shoot now, I don't know when I'm gonna get a chance to shoot. That's what it kind of seems like to me, and that's part of the problem with Fournier. Fournier is a scorer. Fournier can score. Fournier is a pure shooter. He can shoot, one of the best free throw shooters on the team. I don't have a problem with the ball being in Fournier's hands, because I do trust him as far as the shooting aspect. He's a better shooter than Aaron Gordon, than the Jonathan Isaac, than the Nikola. It's Terrence Ross and this Fournier. Those are the two best shooters on the team. The problem is that he doesn't take his best shots. He doesn't take the shots. Okay, yeah, that's the shot you should take. It's like he just gets it and just throws it, because I don't know if I'm going to get the ball back, because I'm not the superstar of the team. The offense is not ran through me. They're going to either run it through AG or they're going to run it through Nikola. They're not going to run it through me. They might try to run it through Markelle. They might try to run it through through Ji, but they're not going to run it through me. So when I get the ball, I'm going to shoot. That's what it seemed like previously. But this year, man, it could be the addition of Markelle. Markelle's also Markelle's a great passer. I mean, of course, he's not. I'm not saying that he's Steve Nash type or anything like that, or LeBron type, but he does, or Chris Paul, but he does put the ball, and the team's movement is better under Markelle Fultz. I think that Markelle Fultz does dish the ball better than we've previously, like his decision making. Even he doesn't get credit with the assists, just the way he moves the ball and gets the offense flowing. I think the offense flows better with Markelle on the court than it has in a long while. And I want to know if that's part of the reason why Fournier is not taking those ill-advised shots anymore. And now that he's not taking those ill-advised shots, it's paying dividends on his numbers. He's averaging, like I said, from a season total 18 points. In the last 10 games, averaging 19 points. Shooting from a season total 47% from the field, shooting 40% from three. Same thing with his numbers as far as shooting for the past 10 games. That's the numbers that you're seeing. They're more consistent and they're good quality shots. He's getting good quality points. They're not just garbage points. He's getting good quality shots, good quality points. And if he does that, I do think they can be more dangerous than they were last year, because last year he wasn't doing it. That was one of the two things that frustrated me last year in the playoffs, was Nicola's slow starts and Fournier taking ill-advised shots. Go back and watch that playoff series against Toronto last year. It was a lot of Nikola not playing well in the beginning of the game, and it was a lot of Fournier taking bad, ill-advised shots throughout the whole game. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and most importantly in the fourth quarter, taking bad shots. Even though we've seen Fournier make game-winning shots, we seen him get game-winning buckets, but he did take a lot of ill-advised shots over the past couple years, because it's not just last year. He's done this for the past couple years. But last year, especially in the playoffs, it was more glaring and more noticeable. This year, it's not. This year, he's playing in the confines of the offense. He's playing within the offense, and it's paying dividends. And again, hopefully this layoff doesn't disrupt that. Because if Markelle and Fournier and Terrence Ross can pick up what they've been doing for the last couple games, last 10 games of the season, the Magic definitely are in prime position to make a big playoff push. And I think even without that, I think they can surpass Brooklyn because they played them twice. But I do think that they will be a better foe and a better matchup for playing against Toronto. You don't want to play against Giannis in Milwaukee. Not right now. You don't want to play against them. But I do like their chances better playing against Toronto. And who knows? Maybe be able to right or wrong from last year and be able to disrupt this whole playoff in the East. So that's where I'm at. I'm glad to talk basketball. I'm glad that basketball's back, and get ready to drop some more videos. So y'all like, share, subscribe, comment below, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.